everyone, it's Lori and Christine, and welcome to Lori and Christine's Creative Kitchen.
Yes.
Today we're going to teach you how to make a super simple dessert, and it is avocado pie, right?
It is avocado chocolate pie.
Wow, that I can't wait to just have it in my mouth.
Yes, well, we're going to have to wait, but it is a raw vegan dessert. So what I like about this is that you don't have to feel guilty when you eat it. In fact, it has a lot of really nutritious things in it. It's going to be quick and easy, except that we're going to have to put it in the fridge to set. So once we're done, it goes in the fridge. And then you just sit by the fridge and basically wait until you can eat it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right.
Are we ready?
I'm so ready.
Okay, so the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to make a crust. I've pulled out everything that we need here for this. For the crust, we're going to be using almonds, desiccated coconut. That is a really fancy way to say shredded coconut. I have some pretty finely shredded coconut, and a little bit of cacao powder, cacao or cocoa. The only difference is that cacao is made from raw cocoa beans and cocoa is made from roasted beans. Both are fine, they will do the job. And we are using a food processor today. If you don't have a food processor, a high power blender would also work for this, but we're gonna have to blend up those almonds. So our first step is going to be the ingredients for the crust, and that is 1.5 cups of raw almonds. If you are using your processor, I'm using an S blade right here. That will basically just chop everything up really finely.
You gotta hold your ears while we do this.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's gonna be loud, but we're gonna dance to distract you from the noise. I have 1/2 cup of desiccated coconut. That's gonna go in there with the almonds. And then we're going to do 2 tablespoons of cacao powder. This is going to give us a lovely chocolate chocolate crust. And that's tablespoons, not teaspoons. Hopefully I said that right.
Yes, you did. I'm super excited already because chocolate, right?
Oh, it's got like antioxidants in it, and I don't know. It's just very, very good for you. So when I'm working here, we make a lot of these raw, yummy vegan desserts, and I try to make them dairy-free. Obviously, it's vegan and sugar-free. So this recipe does call for maple syrup. Maple syrup is a natural sugar, so it is better for you than adding white granulated sugar. So if you're fine with that, you can go ahead and use maple syrup. If not, you can substitute with any kind of sweetener you're comfortable with. We use stevia a lot here. And if we're not going to do the maple syrup but want the flavor, I have some, oh, this is vanilla flavoring, but pretend it's maple flavoring, which is in that cabinet up there, just to give that flavor. So the recipe actually calls for 1/3 cup of maple syrup. So I am going to go ahead and just put a little dollop in this just for the flavor and the goodness. And then I'm going to substitute with a little bit of stevia. And I'm not measuring here because I'm just a madman in the kitchen, basically. Stevia is going to sweeten that, and then, I'm going to go ahead with the vanilla extract anyways because it's just delicious. But again, if you want to just follow the recipe strictly, that's 1/3 cup of maple syrup. You can also use agave syrup, monk fruit. There's liquid monk fruit sweetener, liquid stevia. But I would always replace a liquid sweetener with a liquid sweetener just for the consistency. Okay, these are the only ingredients, I believe.
And the cool thing is, like, when you add, because you don't have to measure, because of all the goodness in these ingredients. So you can, even if you just blended this up right now and rolled it into little balls, maybe added some coconut oil, it would be delicious. Just
Lori,
like that.
You're reading my mind. We are adding coconut oil. That is the last ingredient to the crust. So we're going to be adding melted coconut oil. So let me just grab this pot from you. I'm just going to show my little setup over here. To melt coconut oil, I don't do it straight on the flame on the stove because that's actually going to change the components of the coconut oil. I like to do a kind of double boiler. So I've got water in this pot, and I found just a metal bowl that fits into this pot. I heat that, and it will very quickly go ahead and melt this oil. So basically the water is heating up, it's gonna heat up the bowl and the coconut oil will melt. So you wanna use melted coconut oil in this, and just trying not to heat it. You can also do that with 2 bowls. If you have a bigger bowl, really hot water in, the smaller bowl will melt the coconut oil. So now we just have to wait. How's it looking?
Not done yet. We can edit this one.
Well, while we're waiting, I can show you after we make the crust in here. And again, we didn't measure precisely, but you're just going to look for a consistency that you can kind of squish it together. It's a little bit doughy, and we're going to use this paper to kind of press it into
perfect.
Kind of, it's not really a pie tin, but something like that. You can put it in a square glass, or you can triple this recipe and put it in all of your Tupperware.
This little baby.
Okay, great.
We're getting close here.
Okay, and close is probably okay because it's going to blend it up.
We still got a bit of
a chunk. Mm-hmm.
All right. I think we're good. We're set.
Okay, excellent.
Okay.
So I'll just turn off that flame and yes.
A little warm.
A little warm, so make sure your bowl's not too hot for you before you pick it up. I'm going to go ahead and pour that in there. You want to scrape that out.
Get all of the goodness.
Yes, so coconut oil is very good for you. It's got a lot of healthy fats and nutrients from coconut. It's also what's going to provide a little bit of liquid to this dough to give it a nice consistency. And then once we put this in the fridge to set, it's what's going to help it solidify. So coconut is a really good ingredient for vegan desserts for that reason, because at room temperature in the fridge it will get kind of solid. I've made a lot of cheesecake based things like this. Okay, so now we're going to hear some noise. We're basically going to pulse this and then we'll show you the desired consistency. Okay, so this, it's pretty good and broken up. It doesn't have a lot of liquid in it, I think because we didn't use all of the maple syrup. So I'm going to go ahead and add just a little bit more maple syrup. You can also add a bit more coconut oil, just some sort of liquid that's going to help bring this together. So I'm going to go one more time. I can see some oil clumping in the side. That's looking a bit better. We can maybe do with a bit more coconut oil, but I think that this is going to do.
Shall I do some more? Or?
This should be okay, I think. Yeah.
Do you want to hear something cool I learned about good fats?
What is that?
I learned that your mitochondria, which is what your brain is made up of, uses good fats for energy.
Yes.
So
definitely.
good fats being avocado and coconut oil, this is going to be like a brain food.
It is definitely a brain food. That's a really good point. Good fats are what allow our brains to function. This is essentially the consistency. You can squish it together, and that's what we're going to go ahead and do in this pan. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in here. You can see the nuts are nice and blended. It will be nice and crispy. And then, yes, exactly.
Squish it down?
Squish it down. And we're going to use some parchment paper just so you don't get it all over your pan.
Although you get to lick your fingers after.
True, you do.
Did you ever, when your mom made desserts, like whipped cream, did you ever get to lick the little blender?
Yes, and I had siblings, so it was almost like you won a huge contest if you were the one.
If you were there at the right time.
Yeah.
That's true.
Also true for cookie dough, which may be a precursor to another video.
Yes.
That is looking great.
Yeah, it's the exact right consistency because it's sticking together very nicely.
Good.
Just trying to even it out a bit.
Great.
Okay guys, this is our crust so far. Okay.
That looks amazing. Beautiful.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. So now we've got our crust. We're going to go ahead and make our chocolate avocado mousse filling. We're going to continue to use our food processor in the same blade. No need to wash it in between because all of that chocolatey goodness can go ahead into the mousse as well. So being an avocado mousse, we need avocados.
Makes sense.
The recipe calls for about a cup of avocado, which it says is about 3 whole avocados. So I'm just going to go for it with these. You want to be using ripe avocados. Now, how to tell if your avocado is ripe can be a bit tricky. You know, they turn pretty quickly, but you want to start looking for this dark color. They get darker as they ripen. You can also try peeling back this top of the avocado. If it's not peeling easily, it's not done. Obviously, you want it to be a bit softer, squishy to the touch. If it's too ripe and starts to get those brown spots, it can be a little bit bitter. So you want to make sure you find 3 avocados that are just about the right ripeness. And I know when you think of a pie, you do not think of avocados, but if you've ever had avocado mousse, it's just such a perfect
Yes, it is.
consistency, and
Yeah.
not having to use cream or any dairy product. You know, it's just going to taste like chocolatey goodness by the time that we're finished.
Yes.
Okay, it's our last avocado half. Amazing. Try not to eat the avocados at this point. Okay, so we've got the avocado. We need some cacao powder. So this calls for a third and a tablespoon, a third of a cup and a tablespoon of cacao powder. This is what's going to give us our chocolatey flavor. 2 tablespoons. Okay.
It's looking pretty good, don't you think?
It is looking pretty good. I have to grab some almond milk. Be right back.
Okay. While she's grabbing almond milk, I'll do a little dance.
Okay, I had to go milk the almonds. I'm sorry for that. So you can use any kind of non-dairy milk for this. We just happen to have almond milk available. Coconut would do as well, or oat milk, whatever you have on hand. If you're not vegan and want to go dairy, I'm sure milk would be fine in here as well. And so for our almond milk, we also need a third of a cup. So I'm going to go ahead and use the same measuring device.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes. Okay. So we've got the avocado, almond milk, cacao powder, and we're going to do 3 more tablespoons of coconut oil. Let me get a fresh measure.
Okay.
Okay.
Here's your bowl and
Yes.
your oil, and I will start this up.
Okay.
Oh gosh, my hands so good at this.
Just have to pull it really hard. There we go. Okay. I'm going to put that on there. That's the coconut oil. And again, we're going to sweeten this. You can use more maple syrup. I'm going to go ahead and just do stevia and vanilla in this one because we put a bit more maple syrup in the crust than I had anticipated. Okay, that should be good. So you're still working on the crust. You can, at this point, have the crust in the fridge to start solidifying because we're going to have to do that at the end, but it's fine also out on the counter.
I just noticed some unevenness.
Oh my gosh.
And I wanted like the crust to avocado ratio to be perfection.
I totally understand. Okay, so while we're waiting for that coconut oil to melt, to put in here, the last thing we're going to do after we get this mousse into the pie crust is to top it. You don't need a topping, but some ideas. our chocolate chips. I like to use Lily's vegan chocolate chips.
Sugar-free.
Sugar-free, sweetened with stevia. You can also go ahead and top it with some of your desiccated coconut. That would be a really nice contrast to the chocolate.
You know what else would be great? Raspberries.
Raspberries would be amazing, or chopped nuts. You can do a whipped cream, a coconut whipped cream. Checking on that coconut oil.
Getting there.
It's getting there, good. So the recipe calls for melted. It will heat up in something like this. So if you have some chunks left in there, it's also okay. It's going to get whipped up with the avocados.
Almost junk-free.
Great.
I think that's going to do it.
Okay. Let's get in our food processor.
I'm going to just pour it in.
Okay, great.
Just use this a little hot.
That's okay.
This is team cooking right here. Actually,
I appreciate
team
it. Team not cooking, right, exactly. Okay, so our almond milk in here is what's going to let it blend easily. So if you're finding that it's too dry or chunky, here we go. You can just go ahead and put a little bit more liquid in, coconut oil or almond milk, and here we go. Oh my gosh, it looks like chocolate mousse.
Oh yeah, it does.
Let's take a peek, see if it's ready. Okay, maybe scrape down the sides a little bit. It
looks so
definitely
good.
looking like a chocolate mousse. Yeah, that's a really nice consistency.
Yeah.
It's like a really thick pudding almost. So I'm gonna go ahead and start by taking the blade out and just scraping that off a little bit.
Yes. Look at how good that looks.
Amazing. This is the part where, you can start licking things off as well. We're going to refrain because we're on camera. Once the cameras are off, nobody will know. You can have the spatula. Oh, yes. That looks amazing.
Oh, it looks so good.
And I mean, you could go ahead and eat it right at this stage.
Yeah.
But we're going to put it in the fridge. So what that does is allows the coconut oil to solidify a little bit, and the avocado as well. It's got a pretty nice consistency now, but it would be a bit messy to eat and to cut into. So putting it in the fridge for a couple of hours will help it get a little solid, or you could put it in the freezer. If you put it in the freezer for about a half an hour before you eat this, it would turn a little bit more into a cheesecake consistency. So, yes. But, you have to have patience for this dessert a little bit. It's really quick and easy to make.
Mm-hmm.
But,
I mean, that only took us like 20 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You could make this at home.
You
like
can
tonight,
make this so
for dinner.
easily, yeah. Just need to have those ripened avocados. That's what we've been waiting for this. So.
And the cool thing is, it's so good for you. Everything in it is healthy and good.
Practically a salad, Lori.
It's practically
nuts,
a salad.
avocados. Shall we sprinkle some chocolate chips on here? Just a few, just to look nice and pretty. Okay.
Yes. Look at that, everyone. That is going to be mouth-wateringly delicious.
Yes.
And I cannot wait to
I know what we're
dive
having
in.
after dinner tonight, for sure.
Perfect.
So I'm going to go ahead and just cover this. You can use plastic wrap or parchment just so that it doesn't dry out too much. Pop it in the fridge. By the time dinner rolls around in a few hours, it's going to be perfect.
It's going to be so good.
Mm-hmm.
Well, stay tuned, you guys. Let us know if you make this, and we want to see what you've done.
Mm-hmm.
And stay tuned for we're going to come back to you guys with another creative kitchen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thanks, Lori.
Some new simple recipes for you to try out. See you next time, guys.
Thank you.